Sup, bitches? This is Dom, and you're listening to the Games Only podcast.
When you want to hear about games and only games, look no further. This is the Games Only podcast, your number one source for video game news, reviews, and opinions. With HP 1703.
In death as in life, I shall honor my brothers.
Dr. Kumar.
The boss is here at last, boys.
And myself, Sunflower.
Fresh victim.
Games Only podcast on iTunes and YouTube.
Hello and welcome to the Games Only podcast, episode 49.
49 looks so fine.
Alright, I'm your host this evening, HP1703. And I won the silver medal in improvised podcast opening. To my east, a man who has won in the men's meat arrangement sport, but also, surprisingly, the bronze in the women's arrangement category. It's Dr. Gumar.
Busting down the gender wall.
And to my south and west, a man who not only won gold, but set a world record in the triathlon. That is child-trolling, breastfeeding, women-hating, and surprisingly Greco-Roman wrestling.
I thought it was animated GIF laughing.
GIF laughing. It's Sunflower 4000.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here.
Let's talk about some games, shall we?
Sure.
We set out a challenge to everyone in the podcast. I guess we challenged each other to play and finish Dear Esther this week. And I think we all accomplished said challenge. Did we not?
It was hard not to do it, right?
Yeah, I have a problem, because if I try to talk about Dear Esther 1, regardless of what genre I put it in, Sonny will tell me I am incorrect. And
well,
then
first person walker.
And then...
We can agree it's not a platformer.
2, I don't know what type of game this is. And 3, I'm not even sure if it's a game. I want to just call it an interactive media experience.
Interactive media experience. All right.
It's not a game. I mean, we're not throwing like a softball at tin cups. We're not like, playing basketball with the hoops and whatnot. We're not doing any of that.
You didn't make it all the way to the carnival.
Obviously not. I didn't get.
Yeah, there's a divergent path, and then you throw balls at tin cups. All right. So
first person walker.
How do we start? How do we go about talking about Dear Esther?
Easy. Did you guys have fun when you played it?
I was interested. I don't think but I was interested.
I had been working on kind of a metaphor for the game while I was playing it, and I think it fits. This game is like taking an unguided tour of a museum. You get to walk around. You can't go very fast. You can't touch anything. You're kind of interested in what's going on, and you're kind of bored at the same time. You're like fascinated, yet kind of bored.
Yeah,
it's like when you hit the button to play the displays as you walk past.
Right, and yes, and
it's
it would be if the person who read aloud those displays was some kind of poet who wrote poems that didn't make sense to you.
It's
and
like
we're not
looking
very
at
good.
a stack of photos and you're not in a single one of them. Because you kind of just like want to run right through them because it's like, oh, I'm not in there. Yeah, that's cool. They're doing this, but who cares? I'm not in there.
So, yes. Do we have fun? See, in an odd way, I don't this game in terms of fun or not fun. I think it's better to talk about it in terms of like, was it thought-provoking? Was it evocative of any emotion?
Was it provocative?
Was it provocative or convocative?
It certainly did make me feel particular emotions. However, those were the artificial type of emotions that are not done naturally, it kind of shoehorns you into them. It really doesn't legitimately give you any emotions. You're like, oh, the music's kind of sad, and oh, yeah, maybe that's sad, but it's all contrived.
Yeah. I don't know how to talk about my experience without spoiling the game.
Let's go ahead and just say that we'll spoil it. It's not a game.
Yeah, this interactive media experience.
If you have not played this, I highly recommend not even bothering because just don't play it. Don't do this.
Find a manuscript.
But we will tell you about what you are thankfully missing out on because this is trash. Just to let you know,
trash. I don't know if it goes that far.
Oh,
I'm willing to call it not a game, but I wouldn't call it trash.
Okay, so
looking at it from a game perspective, like if I came in expecting a game and I got this, yeah, I'd be pissed off. But
it's just to look at scenery, listen to music, and just basically be taken through a story of a man who witnessed and was part of a car wreck.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
it was his wife.
What this is kind of a mental construct that his psyche is wandering.
Yes, I think that's safe to assume that this
However, I played through the game twice, and you hear different things each time.
Oh.
Not drastically different, but...
I also had to play through the game twice. Well, 1.75 times because I thought it would automatically save where I left off, and I quit, and then I came back. I gotta start at the beginning.
I did the exact same thing myself.
Okay.
Yeah, no checkpoints. The experience is broken down into 4 different chapters, I guess we'll call them. And yeah, if you don't make it all the way through a chapter before you decide to quit, you get to interactively walk through the entire chapter again.
And we mean walk. You shamble your way across these islands.
And I laughed because at some point they explained why the motherfucker is walking so goddamn slow. It's because he has a broken leg. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Didn't hear that.
That still doesn't make me any happier, but that makes sense.
Yeah, he talks about the infection in his leg spreading, that he busted his leg pretty badly. And then there's all sorts of, taking all these drugs, and then the narration eventually starts to explain the weird things you're seeing on the walls and such. The chemical, the painted chemical composition,
molecular compositions.
I actually had to look up the story of Paul's trip to Damascus because I did not know it offhand. But there's that played into this experience as well. That basically, for those of you unfamiliar with Paul's journey to Damascus in the Bible, Paul begins the trip as basically a Christian hater. He's kind of persecuting Christians, and by the time he gets to Damascus, he has apparently met the risen Christ and is now a Christian. So the metaphor is it's about drastically changing your viewpoint on a journey. So I think in a real poetic sense, they're trying to get you to drastically change your viewpoint on what is a game through the journey of this interactive experience.
Unfortunately, that did not work for me.
I don't think it works for me either. If I was able to interact with things, if I was able to pick stuff up, maybe I could go, yeah, okay, I could see how this is a game. But you literally just walk from point to point, and there are some.
It's a really nice looking island.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It has that going for it. I guess since they didn't have to actually develop any game mechanics, they could throw everything into the actual island itself.
And I liked the music. I think Sonny's right. It is a bit contrived in the way it tried to evoke emotions, but it's good music. It's good. It does evoke emotions. I am a little upset by the fact that when I was through, you could see like a shadowy figure off in the distance a few times, and I thought perhaps that was like you over and over again, and so when I got near the end of the game, I started looking behind me to see if maybe there was a shadowy figure that was following me. And I didn't, and I was kind of disappointed because that would have been cool if, like, there was this mechanic where, you are ahead of yourself. You're the one leaving all these candles. You're the one painting everything on the walls, and maybe that's what they're trying to get at anyway. But you would think there would be another one of you behind you if that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah, there were a lot of missed opportunities to tell an interesting story. Unfortunately, we were left with one that ultimately, in the end, a lot of people don't think that a story like this is all that bad, but to be fair, they're not really qualified to be critical of stories. Someone can use a lot of flowery language and impress a lot of people that that don't know what to look for when it comes to a good story, so to speak. And this is one of those examples where they tried to use flowery language and tried to be vague in a lot of areas where it should have been better. And in the end, the story critic within me says that story was kind of dog shit.
It was a pretty bad story told in an interesting way. The only problem I have with it is the main highlight of this is the story, and you can miss a lot of it if you don't explore off to the side. I mean, a lot of the things he says are just, you reach this point and he'll say whatever, his paragraph.
Yeah, it's tied to a location.
Yeah, if you...
Empty observations.
If you avoid that area, if you go around it, which sometimes you can, you're going to miss that part of the story, miss that part of the conversation.
And what makes that even more complicated and frustrating is because you have two things working against you. One is that sometimes you will hear different things from somebody else. Like, I never heard about Journey to Damascus at all. Never was brought up.
And you never heard about the broken leg either?
Right, I didn't hear that either. Between that happening and the fact that the walking is so damn slow, it discourages you from exploring and finding out more about the story. That really sucks. It's like having a page in a book that's written in invisible ink.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you gotta go buy some lemons and then pour it on the page.
Yeah. Right, and, it's just further effort.
What was all the, the large letters on the side of the mountain as you're ascending this mountain?
I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was extremely vague.
Yeah, those letters were sometimes really hard to read, just because the way the topography was.
Oh yeah, but mine were basically all about on his journey to Damascus and a light shone behind him and.
No, I did see that. I remember that.
Stuff about him not needing to eat for 3 days.
I mean, there were some really interesting cryptid things in the game, but I had no real desire to find the connection to the story. Like, one of the first things on the beach, there's a golden ratio spiral, which, me being a mathematician, I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome. And then I was like, well, there's no way of me finding out its connection. It could just be there. It could just be there to be like, hey, look, we included this in the game. Ha-ha.
Right.
Same things with those chemical compounds that are on the walls. I'm like, okay, I don't understand the connection.
Right. Yeah.
And they'll never explain the connection. So.
There is an audio clip of him talking about how there were chemical compositions on the wall in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, that's where that came from. So.
Okay, so I think HP probably is the one that got the most of the story just by the way he plays games. Right? You probably tried to explore every single corner.
I did. I walked everywhere one could walk in this game.
I mean, there's one funny part, or at least I found it funny, when he's yelling at the buoy. He's calling it a boy, so he's like, the fucking boy. I just started laughing.
Yeah.
But he's pissed off at a buoy out in the ocean, and it's just weird. I mean, some things I felt bad for the guy, because when I finally realized I was pissed off him because he's walking so slow. Then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I got a broken leg." I'm like, "Oh, well, that would explain why you're walking so slow and you can't jump and you can't climb, and I have to follow this path and I can't fall off, or else I have to go all the way back around."
Right.
So
yes.
They do try and explain it, and there are ways that Sunflower can cheat and make him walk faster.
Yep.
You son of a bitch.
It was a lifesaver.
Yeah, thanks. You could have told somebody. I mean,
can imagine.
we were in this together, and you decided to use exploits. That would have benefited everybody.
I was the last one to go through the game. I'm sorry.
Not true.
You just didn't want to share the information.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I don't. It sounds like none of us are recommending this game.
Absolutely not, especially not at $10. We all bought it on sale, I
I
believe.
think we all got it for $5.
It might
I
have
think
been
it was
even
$2.50.
Oh, if it was
Yeah.
$2.50, I would recommend it for $2.50.
Yeah, me too. The only problem is that it's not right now.
Yeah.
So don't even bother. Don't bother. We've spoiled the game anyway. Do yourself a favor and never play that junk. I did enjoy the experience, though, but it was junk.
I did too. I thought it was interesting how it was. And I did feel emotion. Some were contrived because of the music. Some were because of the actual story. It's kind of weird just going through some guy mentally breaking down. Just strange.
Yeah, I think.
Or
I think
perhaps the opposite.
That I'm mentally breaking down? Well, I already know that's true.
I think this game would have vastly benefited from just something simple like being able to interact with certain things in the environment, not everything, but I felt no connection to this dude because basically I'm just a guy, I'm just a camera walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side effect, is that it's got a few mechanics that are working against it. What few mechanics there are did not endear the game to me in any way.
Now, I didn't play Journey, but are there similarities between these two?
I wouldn't say so, no. I mean, no.
They're both just trying to elicit an emotion. They're doing different
Journey
ways.
actually makes you earn it and leaves it up to somebody else. There's a lot more going through that process to get a result from you, as opposed to this, which is just playing music and showing you things.
And I would call Journey an actual game, and I don't know that I would call Dear Esther a game.
Would the inclusion of a jump button make Dear Esther a game?
No.
It'd be closer. Because for real, there were times where I'm like, I'm gonna go over. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
See, I was like, oh, cool, I can use my 360 pad because I finally bought one, so I can play computer games with it. And
Nice.
It'll be okay. And it's like, cool, I can use it. So I go to the button mapping, and okay, there's move, there's look, and then every single other button maps to zoom.
Yep.
I just start laughing.
It's okay, because all you need is
zoom.
mouse, look, and W.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, Dear Esther.
Dear Esther, please give me my money back, but it was okay. Love,
Dear-
Sonny.
Dear Esther, I'm sorry you died in a car accident.
Yeah, $250 doesn't get you much these days, so I guess $250 was an okay price.
Look at it this way. Did you enjoy Dear Esther more than you would have a 20-ounce of soda?
No.
In that case,
I'm a man.
What
I'm a man
kind
who
of
loves
soda?
that
Anyway.
really says it all. But, yeah, if you've played Dear Esther and you have thoughts on the game, we want to hear from you. So let us know what the hell we did.
I mean,
Yeah.
nice looking game. It's pretty to look at. That's about it.
Yeah. So let's go from a completely uncomplicated game to a super complicated game. Mount and Blade Warband.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
he
dun,
sounds
dun,
like
dun, dun.
Mountain Blade. Yeah, I guess that's me since I played that.
Yeah, you're the. Yep.
Yeah. Sonny asked me to play. Well, he told me to play. Sonny doesn't ask people to do things. He tells people to do things,
That's
and then
true.
he hopes that they do it. So Mountain Blade Warband. I didn't really know what type of game this was. I knew it was strategy, and you.
The European poverty simulator.
You kill bandits and you roll with the crew, and that's about it. So I played maybe about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Nothing really to get deep into the game. Played the tutorial and made my character. Decided to play on realistic mode, in which I cannot quit without saving, which I thought was a neat, interesting thing. They pretty much said, hey, you have two options. You can play realistic mode, in which you can't quit without saving, or you could be a pussy and just quit whenever you want. Those were pretty much the two options.
I select pussy.
You select pussy.
It's okay either way.
But yeah, the controls are really fucking janky in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Because, I mean, to attack, there's 4 different types of attack.
Here we go. It's a control discussion everyone's waiting for.
Well, I'm explaining a problem with the game. I'm not saying, oh, you hit A to jump, and
hey,
you
by all
hide
means.
behind here, so shut the
By
fuck
all
up,
means.
Sonny.
By all means, continue.
But, I mean, it's the fact that you have to, you look with the mouse, and then you have to hit the attack button and move the mouse to perform a specific attack, left, right, up, or down. So you're moving the camera while trying to attack, and you're doing just way too many, you're still controlling the camera while trying to attack, and it's just doing way too many things at once.
Did you change the controls? Because you can change them to like a simple click.
Like
this
what?
is one of those things I should have told you before, much like the walking speed in Dear Esther, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is why we're not friends, Sonny. I mean, this is why we can't have nice things. I mean, seriously.
I'm sorry. But yeah, there's a mode where you can change the swings to just clicks.
So I can hold down a key and then click, and there'll be an overhead.
Yeah, you'll have a better job managing your movement on a horse or on a foot.
Because I mean, you're moving around, you're trying to avoid the scumbag that you're attacking. They're all like rough scallions and bandits, and you're trying to be nice and not be one. And you're moving the camera, and you get disoriented at the same time. So it's a really bad mechanic. Furthermore, I tried dismounting my horse, and I had to ask people how to fucking do it, and that shouldn't be done. I actually have to look, while I'm on my horse, I have to look down and stare through my crotch at the horse, and then it gives me the option to dismount.
Yeah, it's the opposite of intuitive.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
It's so you think there's just a button to do it. So it's just the controls really take me out of it. Just really, really janky. And then, okay, I'll switch that option, and hopefully it's a little bit better. But, the training was all right. You shoot arrows, you hit things with a pole while you're on the horse, you hit the sword, you block. I mean, basic, I guess, medieval-style combat. And then I got into the game, and they tell me to go do things, so I go do them. And I have to go. They're not very specific with the quest. They're really not.
Okay.
Because I talked to this merchant, and he's like, "Yo, man, could you help me out? You got to get some more people. So, get 5 people in your crew." So I got 5 people in my crew, and they didn't unlock the next stage of the quest because I had to go outside the town, go to small little villages, recruit the villagers in those villages for my crew, and then go talk to them. Just not very specific as to what you really have to do. And then I ran up on some bandits. And, I'm thinking, beginning of the game, bandits, yeah, let's tussle. I got 10 people with me, and then it was a bandit crew of 30.
Oh. Oh my.
Yeah, it was 20. It was 20 to my 10 or something like that. It was just a lot of them. But I'm like, fuck it. It's the beginning of the game. This has to be, something to really, teach you the basics. No, it's not. There's no learning curve in this game. It's pretty much a fucking plateau straight off the beginning. It's interesting. I do want to get a little bit further in, but just because of the way the controllers are really janky, and I really have to sit down and be like, okay, this game is going to be hard as balls right from the beginning.
All right, so here's what's up. You and your dudes level up as you kill people, which means you may want to end up killing little groups of bandits before you go for the big cheese. Just because you can upgrade your dudes a little bit, and that can be enough. I traditionally, you hit a point where most battles, if you've got 40 people, you can take on armies of 200. Because your dudes are just like that badass. So you don't be too put off if someone's got more numbers than you, but play smart.
I wasn't, and then they fucking just jammed me in my asshole.
Well, you probably had peasants, and they weren't like man-at-arms, things like that. So, and there's also merchant missions that you can do anyway that are just like, deliver some wine to this king, forsooth.
Yeah, the thing, though, is that they don't really tell you anything. There's the tutorial that is pretty much a battle tutorial. They teach you the mechanics of fighting. And then after that, it just kind of feels like you're on your own.
Yeah, and you are. I'd say probably 2 hours of my, like, over 50 hours of the game that I've played was learning hard truths about the game and saying, this is garbage. So eventually it will click, and you will be in bliss once it does. It's going to be like, yep, can't wait to raid the village, take all their sausage.
Take all their chickens, yeah.
All their chickens, all their sausage, all their butter. Just delicious. Have a feast.
I mean, but they just give you so many options at the beginning. They don't explain anything. Like, oh, you could be this type of guy, and what city do you want to go to first? I'm like, fuck it, they're all the same. I just picked the first city on there. I'm like, oh, this city is...
It is an acquired taste, but once you acquire it, you're in for a treat.
Okay, so what you're saying is I have to drink the PBR until I like it.
Keep drinking, senor.
And I'm already done with that quest.
Oh, you like PBR?
And that's Mountain Blade Warband.
Yeah, I'll try and play some more, but it's really just turning me off right at the beginning.
Well, you could be like all the lamos out there, like, oh, just get the Game of Thrones mod, and then it'll be cool.
That does sound cool.
Yeah, it does sound cool.
That sounds pretty cool.
Not
but
bad.
if it's like the same mechanics, it's not going to be all that great.
It'll be the same mechanics.
Because I'm like Jon Snow. Why are you like moving your head and looking around everywhere to swing your sword, man? Not working.
It'll be all right. Anyway,
so yeah, it sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like you're still up in the air about that, Doc.
Yeah, it's going to be a big time investment, and I really wanted to play Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion as my big time investment.
Okay.
So I might switch over to that, and to the dismay of all of our European listeners, I might put Mountain Blade Warband to the side for a bit.
You have disappointed all of Europe.
Yes, all of our 3 European listeners.
Yep. That's pretty much all of Europe. Okay. So that's Mountain Blade Warband.
Now, speaking about Conquest of Mountain Blade Warband.
Okay.
You've been doing a little Conquest of your own, haven't you?
I have. I spent the weekend away, and so I picked up Pokemon Conquest to
Pokemon Conquest, but that's not black and white.
That's not red.
It's in color.
Y'all see the new 151 Pokemon on the new Pokemon Black and White? Them Pokemon look off the chain.
It's true. So, Pokemon Conquest is kind of like my first tactical RPG.
I've never heard of Pokemon. I played Pokemon Red back in '95, and I just haven't been paying attention to the whole series, even though I'm friends with some Pokemon crazy son of a bitch called Game Shark. I haven't been paying attention at all. What the fuck is Pokemon Conquest?
It's a crossover with another franchise that I don't know, I'm not familiar with. But it's a tactical RPG whereupon each of your warlords or warriors has one Pokemon that they can bring into battle with them. They all have a different amount of Pokemon they can have, but you can only bring one into battle with you. And then it's, grid-based tactical RPG. I'm gonna move all my dudes and attack, and they're gonna move their dudes and attack, and you're trying to.
Then you call your Thunderfuck Pokemon, and it kills everything.
Then I call my Thunderfuck Pokemon, and surprisingly, it fucks people with thunder.
Right. So this sounds actually a lot more fun than the standard Pokemon games. Those are normally all cute and friendship, and yay, Pokemon, collect them all. This sounds like I'm going to kill some fucks.
Well, there's still the cute, they call it a link in Conquest, where the more you battle. It's not really levels, but
Lincoln,
the more
like Abe Lincoln.
Hey, Blinken, hold the reins.
The more one warrior kind of fights with one Pokemon, the more their link number will raise, and that makes their attacks more powerful and the defense more stout and all that kind of thing. And you can have for each pairing of warrior and Pokemon, you have like a percentage. So like 100% is a perfect link, so you can be the strongest. That is your strongest link to.
So you can be the very best.
Yes, like no one ever was.
All right. So you two are bros. You run deep. Do you get like can you get like negative links in which they hate your fucking guts and won't do anything they tell you?
No, I think the smallest link I've seen so far is I think 30. So you can capture a Pokemon that you don't have a good like rapport with, I guess, and then your attacks aren't going to be very strong and your whatever isn't going to be very whatever.
Sorry, I'm just trying to decipher your whatever is whatever.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, so, I mean, insofar as I've only played maybe 1 or 2 tactical RPGs before, this is kind of as far into a tactical RPG as I want to get. It's all right, great. It's easy to pick up and play. I feel like I kind of understand how the game works now. I'm about 10 hours in, and yeah, it's all about conquering different kingdoms or whatever you want to call them.
It sounds like they took out the grinding of a regular tactical RPG because of that link system, in which there's no real level.
Yes. However, you want to get your link as strong as possible if you're going to fight, to obtain more kingdoms. But you can delegate the command of a kingdom to kind of one of the different warriors or warlords, and they will kind of auto-level your dudes who are under their command. So it does take a lot of the grinding out, but you do have to make sure all your dudes are like in a kingdom where they're being delegated to train or to raise their energy level or whatever it is, and there's a bit of grinding in that, when you meet a new warrior and their link with their Pokemon isn't very good, you kind of want to find the right Pokemon for them, so they can be as strong as they can be. But yeah, I mean, I've heard that there's kind of an extended New Game Plus to this game, so I have a feeling I'm more than halfway done, or about halfway done with the main campaign the first time through, but from everything I've heard, the second and successive playthroughs add ton more content, and maybe it's just more grinding. I don't know, but there's all sorts of New Game Plus stuff in there, and yeah, I mean, if you already know the kind of the fire beats grass and grass beats water, all that kind of stuff, then this is very easy to get your hands on, and it's very accessible.
All right, sounds good.
Does it sound good?
What is this, Nintendo DS?
Yep.
Okay.
It's for DS or 3DS, but I don't have a 3DS yet. I'm thinking
so it is for DS.
Yes, if I do a DS, I might do the 3DS, the extra large that's coming out.
Because you're a big mamma jamma.
Right. Well, also...
You have big eyes.
I have big eyes. I got big hands. I got strong hands.
You have a simple dick.
I have a simple dick. These are all reasons why I want a bigger
What other games
screen.
have we been playing?
Well, Sonny, what game have you been playing?
Real quick, real small, real short. I want to tell everyone out there with an iPhone or an iPad or an iOS device To buy the game, 10 million. That's 1,000,000,000. It's $2.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you anything more, except it's been very pleasant. It's been very fun. Myself and a few friends of the shows have played it, and we've all loved it. You will too. Enjoy.
Striving review. I moved to buy an iOS device now just to buy it.
I don't
do you
want
to tell me
playing
what
my
kind of game it is?
Yeah, seriously.
No.
You don't
I
have
want it. Well, I mean, I guess I might as well since you don't have an iPhone or anything.
Yeah.
You have an iPod, but I would like some indication where my $2 is going.
Is it a touchy touch?
Yes, it is a touchy touch.
Ooh, touchy. Okay, well then we can definitely talk about this. Okay, what it is you are in a dungeon, and you must escape. And the only way to escape is if you get 10 million points. Now, the points that you get rely...
See, this is interesting now. This is good.
Aren't you glad you asked?
I
am glad I asked. I didn't know. So there's a sound effect for everything you do in this game? That sounds dope as hell.
Well, you can upgrade your little dungeon that you reside in. That's the cutting of the wood,
yeah,
and then
right. Yeah.
you upgrade using the stone and the wood that you find in the game, with the stone going tink tink tink, because that's what it sounds like when you hit with mine pick. Tink
sure.
tink tink.
Ring, ding,
and
ding,
the you can upgrade your armor, you can upgrade your magic wands, and you can upgrade your swords. But the way the game is that you run forwards. The game does all the running for you, and you encounter monsters or locked doors and chests. Or that's really all you encounter. So what you have to do is there's a gigantic grid, and you have to mix 3. It's a match 3 game at its heart, depending on what you run into. And you can move things a whole row up, or you can move it a whole row sideways, whatever. The reason the game's actually good is because of the visual and audio aesthetic in the game. They're absolutely fantastic. They're chiptune inspired. 8-bit inspired, I suppose you could call it. The music's beautiful, and the graphics are quaint, as expected. But it's just a really addictive little romp, and it will last you about 6 hours. So play the game and enjoy it. It's fun. There's no. It's basically a grind until you get enough abilities that you can actually hit 10 million in your score as you play. There's little missions inside of it. You'll get a bunch of gold if you manage to, kill 6 monsters in one run. Things like that. I don't know. A lot of fun. $2. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I enjoyed it a lot. That's all I played this week on my phone, and it's been great. I was supposed to be reading comic books on my Kindle, but instead I played this game.
Sure.
The end. Did-it.
Thank you for talking about it, Sonny.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
Now everyone knows it's a match 3 game, so people will
I can tell.
automatically...
I noticed that you saved that for the last thing you talked about.
Well, it's a lot of people don't really enjoy match 3 that much. I know I don't. I don't find it very deep.
I liked a few that had aspects like RPG aspects like that. I think what was called Pyromancer on Steam.
Bejeweled 3.
Yeah, I didn't play Bejeweled 3, but
fun ass game, yo.
Pyromancer is pretty much Bejeweled, except it's Square Enix makes it, so there's some RPG elements.
So there's bad hair and stilted dialogue.
No, it wasn't much so. There's cool looking monsters. That's what I know.
Well, I'm a big fan of cool looking monsters. Those are
cool. We like the monsters.
Looking monsters.
But yeah, buy that game. It's $2 and it's fun. It's just one, and then with what is that? 10 zeros after it for 10 million?
No.
1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9?
That would be 7 zeros. 7 zeros.
It's an 8-figure number, meaning it has 7 zeros after.
7 zeros.
Hey, Doc, what is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 times 0?
No, it's 25. I'm sorry.
Okay. Excellent day. Although I believe it's 30, but you didn't get tricked.
Well, because you have that 0 times 5 at the end, so it should be that 5 doesn't make a difference. But if it's written down, obviously I can see. You're just saying a bunch of 5s over and over again, so.
1 and a plus 2 and a plus 3 and a plus 7. All right, you know what? That doesn't matter, but let me tell you about something that does. I finally played Lollipop Chainsaw.
Okay, tell me about Lollipop Chainsaw.
It's that game where you play as that cheerleader hoe and you beat up zombies. You know,
play as the
chainsaw.
cheerleader hoe and you beat up zombies.
Most people have heard about this game due to the cosplay by that woman,
Jessica Negri.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
That would be her last name.
Don't throw that out there. But
sorry, my Negris.
Is that what her people are called? Is that what you're assuming her people are called?
Yep.
So
anyone who cosplays.
She walks out the podium and she's like, "What's up, my Negris?"
At her family reunion, they do. Anyway, tell me about this zombie game.
The woman's name you're thinking of, Jesus, is Juliet. That's her character's name. God,
okay.
People, I couldn't even stop you guys. Just freight train into hell. I don't even know what to say.
Well, you could have just avoided the whole famous for this.
Tell me about Lollipop Chainsaw, Sunflower.
I'd love to, but the man who loves to talk about controls has got me. He's got me pinned down.
I'm so sorry. It's okay because we're safe at the bell.
He has taken control of this podcast.
So
tell me about Lollipop Chainsaw.
You play as a cheerleader and zombies have invaded. Not really invaded. It's not like they came from a country, but there are zombies everywhere. Oh my god. And she does all these girly things and people go bananas over it. You know, girly in the traditional sense, not actual feminism. But, you know, it's supposed to be one of those stupid girl power things where they act like whores anyway.
So do you move with the analog stick?
You do move with the analog stick. You can hop over zombies with the B button. The Y button is your chainsaw for regular chainsaw attacks, and you can hit them on the ground with the A button. Alternatively, you can beat them up to a dizzied state using pom-pom attacks, which are mapped to the X button on 360. If they're dizzy, you can decapitate them very easily and activate something called Sparkle Time, which appears when you kill more than 3 zombies at once, and there's sparkles all over the screen. Now that that's out of the way.
Yeah.
Sparkle Time!
That's what it's called, and it says it in big letters on the screen, and then you hear little cheers happening behind you. It's just like, San Romero is the best!
So, this is a Suda 51 joint?
Oh, you had to say joint.
I did.
But yes, it is. Which means, unfortunately, it plays a lot like No More Heroes, which is not really the best. In fact, the controls are the biggest problem I have with this game.
Well, don't talk about them, please. I mean,
nobody
likes it when people talk about controls.
It's true. But it just simply is not fun to actually play. I was interested in the story, but all it does is throw zombies at you again and again, and you'll get tiny little mini-games like you plug your boyfriend's head onto a zombie and you have to run around as him by doing quick-time events and crap like that. But this game just isn't fun. The main way that you would measure the fun in a game like this is how fun is it to decapitate zombies, and unfortunately it's a bunch of button mashing and you can't even be creative with it. You can learn combos at shops and things like that, but ultimately the only thing you really are doing is coming up with different ways to continually kill zombies that don't really matter. And there are way too many of them, and you progress through the story way too slowly. And I gotta say, I gave up on Lollipop Chainsaw in the first hour.
Wow. Now, excuse me, but doesn't your last paragraph, doesn't that describe every zombie game ever?
Not necessarily. I mean, let's look at Dead Rising, for instance. You could be creative, and you could fulfill any kind of weird fantasy that... Hey, I see where this is going. You could fulfill any weird fantasy that you could possibly have about a bunch of zombies being in a mall. You could throw burgers at their face, which I always got a big kick out of. You could disembowel them. You could jump off of, giant shelves. You could put plungers in their butts. I mean, you can do all sorts of different stuff.
Or I think the biggest thing for Dead Rising is, or you can avoid them completely.
You can also do that. There's
Lollipop Chainsaw, you have to kill them all, don't you?
In fact, they present that to you in the worst possible way. On the screen, you will see something like 0 out of 26 zombies left to kill, and you're like, great, 26 of them to kill. I guess I'll just kill them all.
You have a chainsaw. That doesn't sound overly difficult. Are they like super zombies?
They are remarkably, at least on normal, they're remarkably resilient to the chainsaw. So,
really?
Even though you can hit them 4 times, they may only lose an arm. And it's not like it matters if they lose an arm, because they still behave the same afterwards, which sucks.
Interesting.
So,
The one thing I heard that was interesting about this game in terms of, the zombie genre, is that there are places in the game where you're supposed to save these survivors, and if you don't save them in time, they actually come back to life as like stronger zombies than the rest of them.
Yeah, they'll be named zombies, which go into a collection when you kill them. It's not the exact collectible that you would enjoy. Unfortunately,
so you have to let these people die in order to collect them.
If you want to collect them all, yes. The problem is
everybody die.
The stronger zombies really don't have anything special to them. I mean, if it's a cop that turns into a zombie, every once in a while he may pull out his gun and shoot at you. Big deal.
Oh, that's not fair.
It's also not very fun. You don't dispatch them in any different way. You still go up there, beat the hell out of them with your pom-poms, and do a little jump, hit your sparkle time, tear that shit up. Yeah! And that's it. The game just, unfortunately, is not fun. I had more fun with No More Heroes. Where it does shine is with the dialogue and the story, because you actually want to hear what the hell's going to come out of their mouth next. No More Heroes 2 in particular, I really enjoyed some of the writing in it because it was just so off the wall and crazy, and it believed in itself. It knew that it was doing something stupid. Kind of reminded me of, in a way, Bulletstorm, where every phrase from everybody was a treat, especially the one where they called you dick tits. But, the story just isn't enough for me to play this subpar game. It controls like ass. It's just not fun to play, and the zombies get really boring. Maybe it gets better after the second hour? I won't know, because the game turned me off just way too much. So, sorry, Lollipop Chainsaw. You are Lollipoop.
Wow.
So we had a pretty shitty week for games, huh?
I guess. I put in Left 4 Dead 2 the other night. That was a treat.
I saw that.
A hard-ass game. I forgot how hard it was, but we succeeded, and then played some Payday the other day. That game is severely underrated. Payday is an amazing game on PC.
Now, HP, why didn't you join them for Left 4 Dead 2?
'Cause Left 4 Dead.
I really want to play with you again, though. Maybe I think times have changed.
Why?
I think times have changed, and I think that we'd be really...
He wants to see you freak out and hear you freak out.
No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Boring. That game is boring.
I got really mad at HP once, and I don't want to be mad at him, but I think that there's a lot of fun to be had.
So what you're saying is you want to be mad at HP again.
I will if you make me play that game again, I will light you on fire again. I promise you. That's a promise.
That's the first thing he's going to do is throw a Molotov up your ass.
Why would you do that? Why?
Because Left 4 Dead. That's what I think of that game.
And everyone that I was talking to said, HP doesn't hate it. And I said, he told me he hated it. Tell everyone now that you hate it.
It's alright. It's an okay game.
See, he just wanted to make you a liar, motherfucker. I've been playing a lot of Marvel, which is what I do. I got a new fight stick, so that's probably why I've been playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So 200 wins in that game. Yay.
Nice. Congratulations.
I think 230 losses or something. Around 500, a little low, but...
So, there's been a few Kickstarters that you guys wanted to mention, or...
Yeah, normally I don't like Kickstarters, but I got you guys' attention before the show.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two in particular. One was the badass Pebble Watch. That shit looks off the chain for real.
I will own one, probably.
I will steal his.
I'm gonna have a stolen one.
Buy it in black, okay? That way I can steal it and be happy, all right?
Motherfucker, what other color would I buy it in?
I don't know, fucking candy apple
Green
red?
and yellow?
Nope. I'm gonna buy it in black.
Anywho.
Black on black.
The Pebble Watch looks all sorts of flavors of nice, but that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about the Oculus, which had a funding goal of something like $250,000, and on the first day they raised over $1 million. What?
Mm-hmm.
What it is a 3D VR headset, which doesn't sound too crazy, right? Okay, VR headset, whatever. Virtual Boy, that sounds like great. Yeah, no one cares about that. The only reason that this is really notable is because a lot of big industry names are hyped as shit for this. They really want the Oculus, and they want to do work for it. They think that this can really revolutionize gaming, to the point where all this motion gaming stuff really kind of looks like a joke if they can do what they say they're going to do with virtual reality. Maybe that was the next step that gamers actually wanted and needed. And the fact that it's 3D, it's VR, and it won't hurt your eyes when you play it because they managed to make you focus on a particular point with them all the time that doesn't give you any eye strain, which is pretty wicked. It makes me happy because last thing I want to do is like get a headache when I put one on. That'd be horrible. You know, people like John Carmack, Gabe Newell, they're all interested in this, and they can't wait to develop for it. What?
First, I don't trust Gabe Newell's opinion because he doesn't make games. He's done making games. No Half-Life 3. He doesn't really make games.
Who needs Half-Life 3? Half-Life 2 stunk.
Wow.
Goodbye, listeners.
Did you guys love Half-Life 2?
I
like Half-Life 2. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I mean, you don't like you don't like the main character because
so you guys really enjoyed the sewer sections where you had to pilot a shitty hydro boat.
Shitty sewer sections. Sorry.
I don't mind.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, well, y'all
I've played worse.
Y'all can just stick Gordon Freeman up your butt. But what I'm saying, Gabe Newell's excited, and he still carries a lot of influence, especially with Valve. I mean,
Cliff Bleszinski also excited.
And he's not just young and attractive. He makes good games, too, and has a good sense for the business.
You just love him because he's Phoenix.
But the thing that I wanted to talk about this...
Did you just hit on Cliffy B?
He did, because Cliffy B made big burly men that Sonny enjoys watching shoot guns.
Huh.
Yeah, it's true. What really gets me is, having looked at that Kickstarter after I played Dear Esther, made me think, I just want somewhere to escape to and look at nice things. Because I found out that I took a ton of screenshots while I was playing Dear Esther in the cave section. God, it was beautiful.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and all I could think of is, man, if I could find that kind of shit in real life, I'd just lay there, and who knows when I'd get up. You know, I would just love to be away from an apartment, a world of whatever the hell I'm in, and I'd like to escape sometimes, and I'd just like somewhere to go mentally that I can relax. It's like a vacation without the vacation. You know what I mean? When you just kind of soak in the ambiance. It's like when you go down to the local Orange Leaf or Cherry Berry, you're like, yeah, frozen yogurt house. A frozen
Orange
yogurt
Leaf,
house.
yeah.
I
got an Orange Leaf.
I don't know what those are.
It's for hillbillies, I think.
Oh, okay.
Which is why me and HP know what it is.
That's exactly
I enjoyed
why.
the Orange Leaf.
Hey, y'all got a diner?
No.
Yeah, Hubbard Avenue Diner.
We do have one that's supposed to be legit, but I've only had a milkshake from there.
Well, you know,
that's a good sign.
If you wanted to, you could take your Oculus and you can actually visit a diner.
That's what I'm thinking. If someone, because I also find out that like on my my iPhone, I'll get things to help me sleep. Different sounds, and there have been really nice ones that have been released for iPad that will have looping animated images meant to evoke, oh, this is just like being at waterfalls. The only thing's missing is the actual water, things like that. I just kind of want something I can relax in and view it more as a relaxation tool, almost like a meditation thing, in a way. And I think that this device, this Oculus, could actually be perfect for that. Am I crazy?
It sounds like you're more accurate as to what it can be used right away than for actual gaming applications. So that sounds.
And that's the thing. They're going nuts over this is going to revolutionize gaming, and I'm like, what about just sitting around?
Because I mean, like you mentioned, they're trying to go for virtual reality, and the visuals are one thing, but also how you interact with the environment is another thing. And the Oculus brings the visuals, and we don't have anything really to properly interact with the environment in terms of virtual reality.
Could you imagine Second Life on this crap? Horrible.
Yes, you can watch horses fuck each other, but they're humans. Yay!
If you want to be gross, that's fine. I was talking about the landscape.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. Am I the only one who wants something like that? Because, I mean, like, all right, check it out. On Netflix, in my instant queue, I got The Fireplace. The one that burns for like 2.5 hours and you just watch it. I like that shit. Am I the only one?
Yes.
Out of the three of us, yes.
If I'm sitting
in the world,
my room,
probably not.
Yeah, in the world, no.
if I'm sitting on my room, maybe I'm typing up an article, maybe I'm doing some actual work, things like that, I'll turn on the TV and I'll turn on that fireplace. Because I like the sound of it. I like pretending that there's a fire in my room that isn't going to put me out of the house.
See, but the question is, if you're trying to do some work and relax at the same time, how...
It makes the work better.
Television strapped to your eyeballs.
That's all right. And I'm not saying it's going to be used for the same thing.
You can't see the work you do.
Right.
See your beautiful Cancun land.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do, is hope for virtual reality. And apparently I'm the only one. What do you guys think?
I'm skeptical anything that says virtual reality, because as a child in the 90s, I went to the mall, and they're like, virtual reality. I was like, fucking sweet. And then it was ass.
Always horrible. I agree.
So I'm skeptical now because of those snake oil salesmen. Their virtual realities.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I think of the three of us, Sonny's always looking for the next thing. But I don't know that I've ever thought to myself, man, this would be better if I had 3D goggles strapped to my head. You know?
What if you could walk around Green Bay Stadium, rendered in full 3D?
Okay.
With this program.
I could probably do that right now.
You could do that in real life. You could walk over.
Drive up. I'm going to be there tomorrow, actually.
But you know what? Can you do that 2 o'clock in the morning when you don't feel like putting on pants? No. So this will do it.
Well, he could. He just wouldn't be around for the next podcast.
Yeah, I'd be arrested. All
I'm saying is I think that this could be a really useful relaxation tool. And I don't know. I really like environments when they're done well. And I like to explore them. And I don't really need a game for it. I just want to look.
The question is, are people going to be willing to create these environments? Because will they sell? I mean, everybody's foaming at the mouth for gaming, so of course the people are going to make games for it. Are they going to make Pebble Beach Simulator?
Oh, yeah, Pebble Beach.
You know, where you just kind of hang out and watch the racetrack, sit there?
That would be beautiful. I'd love that.
It would be.
Okay.
But
it's
are
like,
people going to do that?
Imagine the different locales are like in PlayStation Home, and crank it up a bit so it's actually something interesting, and places that you actually want to go to and see and pretend that you're there. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a lonely-ass dude who needs a real vacation.
It's okay to like that, but I'm asking, is there a market for it? Because I'm sure there's a bunch of great ideas, but nobody would buy that shit.
Depends on how expensive it is. Look at what environments would do. You wouldn't need artificial intelligence.
But, I mean, you're talking about, look how expensive it is, and you talk about, like, full, lush 3D rendering of something.
Now, okay.
So, I mean, that's some
time out.
bills.
I'm gonna take Sunflower's side real quick. Do we think that
I see how it is.
Do we think that this Oculus could perhaps tap into the same casual market that the Wii tapped into?
Absolutely, if not more.
I think it could as well. I do.
Like I said, it probably can, but it's a matter of, are people willing to develop for that side? Because you're talking about all these big game developers. Is there anybody who's like a landscape artist?
Why not? Because I looked at my
you...
iPhone, and one of the first apps I bought for my iPhone was some shit where I could play with water. You just fucking stick your finger in water, and you just play with it. And that's great.
Riveting.
If Nintendo gets their hands on something like this and they think that they can sell, 10 million copies of
Pokemon Ranch,
Pokemon Garden,
SimCity, Oculus,
SimCity Water, then yeah, they'll definitely, if it becomes a thing and the public has interest in it, then of course.
Yeah, I have no disagreement that if it becomes a thing, then yeah, of course they're going to do it. I'm asking, can it become a thing?
Does it need to be a thing for these types of, we'll just call them apps for the sake of argument, but does it really need to have a huge market for these apps to emerge? I mean, this isn't like AAA gaming. You're not going to need to have like 6,000 or 6 million sales in order to break even.
Yeah, but it's also a lot harder to develop something like that than it is an iPhone game.
Not necessarily. I mean, it really depends.
If you want escapism, you want realism, and that's a lot to ask for.
All right, look, Uncharted 2, we've all played that, right?
It's on the shelf.
All right.
I've played
HP's
Uncharted
played
too.
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the Mountain Village with the Sherpas and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could just walk around that and look at things and just manipulate a few things and it looked better and there was more depth to it? Of course. I mean, that is a small part of a very big budget. That's a very small part of it. Why can't these be easy enough to turn out? I think that they could be easy enough, and I think it'd be a nice thing. Waterfalls, man, hell yeah.
Well, yeah, I like the Louvre making a virtual
museum that you go through on your iPad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I could see that. There are applications, but I don't know in terms of gaming how big this will get, because I've really never played a game and thought I need to be more immersed into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I really don't know about that either.
In terms of gaming, controller, it needs something. Like, I'm reading Ready Player One, and they have a 3D Oculus type of setup, and they have haptic gloves in which you can manipulate the environment, and you can feel it back. So, they need something like that to actually immerse yourself. Because if you're still looking with two TVs on your eyes and you're using a 360 controller, you still know you're using a 360 controller.
Bro,
yeah.
You put those gloves on that, you got your sex simulator, man, human race is fucked.
Is that what you meant by glove? You meant the condom?
No glove, no love.
That's right.
But I mean, what if you could feel? What if you could feel what you saw in front of you? Man, we're on the cusp of something great.
All right, Kickstarter. We don't know how we're going to do it. We'll call the Kickstarter On the Cusp of Something Great.
Sounds good.
Hard gas.
Kickstarter. I had a Kickstarter that I got canceled before the date. I decided to fund the one true game, as they call it, called Dive Kick, in which Dive Kick is the simplest fighting game that's ever going to be created, in which it has two buttons: a dive button, which is essentially a jump button, and a kick button. And it's pretty much all mind games, bouncing back, hit the other character just once, and you win the round. Very, very simple game, but very, very complex when you get into it. But it's made by just like 5 guys out of the fighting game.
How's it complex?
Because of the mind games you play, this character could jump back this far or jump up this far, and it's a lot of mind games without the execution of an actual fighting game.
Is that it? Just distance?
What's that?
Just distance? That's all?
Well, would you like to watch some videos after this, and you can see? Because it's kind of hard to explain.
Just curious if it actually has the depth that you say it does.
Okay, well, I believe you would trust me on this by now, but okay. Yes, it has 2 buttons, so it has less depth.
So why are you glad that
that's all right. I just know that Virtua Fighter's got 3 buttons, and it's got more depth than any other game out there.
So obviously 2 buttons were in that.
Okay, great.
Virtua Fighter's actually made
I wanted to really talk more about the Kickstarter than the actual game. But
why are you glad it didn't get funded?
The Kickstarter got canceled because they actually found a publisher for the game by actually going out and hopping on Kickstarter and saying, "Hey, we need funding for this game." They actually discovered a legitimate publisher that wants to work with them, which I find actually amazing. And they were going to be funded through Kickstarter, and they decided to cancel the funding. And the reason why they cited for is because they specifically said Kickstarter should be a last resort for funding. If you can't find funding in some other manner, go to Kickstarter and have the public fund it for you, which I find really admirable and actually what I think Kickstarter is, as opposed to Double Fine going out there and trying to develop a game off the people's money, in which they could definitely have found a publisher for, and a few of these other companies doing that. And Penny Arcade, for instance, as to Sonny's despise, that they didn't need to go through Kickstarter to fund the removal of ads on their site. So they really shouldn't have gone through Kickstarter. I like it as an idea of a last resort for funding. But I really just like the story, how these guys were, they made a game, they needed to remake it for the PC because they were using a different software, I think the Xbox Live style of software, and they didn't have a publisher, so they went to Kickstarter, and then a publisher found them. I really like that type of idea. Really gives me hope for actually indie developers, because it's one thing to actually be able to, make a game off a Kickstarter, but then your next game, are you going to have to go through Kickstarter again? Probably. Now there's an option in which publishers can find you on there, and you can have the option to cancel it and be like, yeah, sure, let's go with you.
Nice. That's very admirable.
Yeah. So I really, really like that.
So is the whole Mind Games thing about either you kick or you dive? I'm kidding, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a positional game. It's more about positioning than actual, what combos can you do, seeing as you hate Marvel.
In a way, is it kind of like a sumo match, in a way?
Yeah, you could kind of look at it like a sumo match.
Because that's kind of what it sounds like. It's like big-ass dudes. Make one mistake, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much that's what you can look at it. And there are other things, like if you kick the guy in the head, it's a headshot, and then they're kind of slow for the next 5 seconds of the next round. Just like little twerks in there. And there's a super bar in which you move really fast when you fill it up. So there's a lot in there for a execution-less game. You don't really need execution at all. You need the ability to slap 2 buttons, and that's it.
Well, as long as it's a simple game for those who require it.
Sonny likes to judge things.
And speaking of slapping 2 buttons, I'm sure you're all done slapping your buttons to our voices, and that means we've reached the end of the show.
They slap buttons to our voices?
That's a masturbation joke.
Oh. Okay.
I'd like to thank you, the listeners, for slapping your buttons to our voice. And I'd like to thank my co-hosts, Dr. Gumar.
Oh, you're welcome. I would not like you to thank the other guy, but you go ahead. You're going to do it anyway.
And I sort of thank Sunflower 4000.
Curse me, damn you. Curse me.
And I curse Sunflower 4000.
I just don't like controls.
Oh, my God. Okay, we get it. Thank you.
We do, but see, the difference is you don't like talking about controls. But when there's a legitimate problem with me playing the game and the controls, then yeah, I think it's okay to talk about it. As opposed to me like writing a review in which I go, well, first it's a third-person shooter in which you can jump with A and then you can shoot with the right trigger. That's a little different than actually saying I have a problem with these controls because of this.
Can you believe, listener, that we've almost done this for 50 episodes?
Seriously.
You'd think that maybe these two would kind of just agree to disagree and move on.
See, we have to keep our edge. We have to keep our edge. That way we're just like a fresh virgin every episode.
50 episodes.
I've been trying to move on. I've been waiting on you guys. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Waiting on us.
Yeah, I've been
waiting
on us.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to do is get wrapped up into another conversation about controls.
49. That's episode 49.
Yes, it is. Thank you all for listening.
We'll be back next week for episode 50. 50.
50.
Should we do anything special for episode 50?
That's our mahogany anniversary.
That's yes. That's paper. That's glued paper anniversary.
It's the macaroni and glitter anniversary.
It's our Manny Managot.
Macaroni to the back of this paper plate.
And it's lovely, Sweetums. I'm putting it on the refrigerator as we speak.
Yeah. Hey, PAX is coming soon.
PAX is coming soon?
You guys going to do a games-only recording?
I could. We could. We could do it Sunnyless, and I feel kind of naked recording without Sunny.
Oh, I don't know.
Because then I have nobody to argue with.
Right.
I mean, I can argue with HP. He doesn't argue back, though, and that's
with
true.
viewpoints like yours. There's tons of people that want to argue with you.
Okay, and that's it.
Not worth time.
Okay, good.
We'll figure that out, and we'll also
start punching people in the face.
That's good. We're also coming up on our 1-year anniversary, so yeah, we'll probably do something nice for y'all. Pants off, dance off. I'm calling it. Yep, that's it. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Why? These pretzels are making me thirsty.
These pretzels
For
are
deciding
making me thirsty.
need to go pantsless.
You know what? And then you G-R-A-B-T-A-G-C-A-K-E-S. Oh, grab them, catch. Oh, what's all you do? Grab them, catch. And listen, I don't care what it takes. Grab them, catch. Oh, I feel when you do it to me. Grab them, catch. Oh, yeah. This is the old talking to your mama. Live and it's sure enough living color. Well, you move to the left, then you move to the right, then you squeeze your partner with all your might. Then you let your man loose, then you turn him on out. Then you do your thing, just scream and shout. And when you get yourself started, it's hard to stop. You just go for your partners, you know what? And then you G-R-A-B-T-A-G-C-A-K-E-S. Grab them, catch. Grab them, catch. We don't care what it takes. Grab them, catch. When you do it to me. Grab them, catch. Come on, yeah. Oh, it sounds a little bit like the wolf man again. No, but it's the dog, baby. 310 pounds and nothing but twisted steel, a little bit of flexibility. I'm bumping at the moon. Get that left leg going, baby. And then your right. You got it. Well, when you get yourself started, it's hard to stop. Just go for your partners, you know what? And then you G-R-A-B-T-A-G-C-A-K-E-S. Grab them, catch. Oh, is that all you do? I say grab them, catch. Oh, he don't care what it takes. Grab them, catch. Oh, what a feeling when you do it to me. Just grab them, catch. All the kids are doing it. Grab them, catch. The whole world is doing it. Hey, grab them, catch. Look at me. Grab them, catch. Oh, yeah. Grab them, catch. Get it together, baby. Grab them, catch. All the way from New York City. Grab them, catch. Back to Louisiana. Grab them, catch. Still so nice having it twice. Grab them, catch. New York.
All right! The dog getting down!
If I could expostulate just momentarily on the virtues of Junkyard Dog, I think he can sing as good as he can wrestle.
Even you had to be impressed, Jesse.
I'm not impressed. Let me tell you what, it sounded like he had a mouthful of grit spewing out at the microphone.
Hey, Jesse Ventura, there is a new artist out called Derringer. Have you heard about it?
That's right, and it's dedicated to me, all-American Jesse the Body.
No. It's dedicated to Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham.
Well, let me just say this, then Derringer should have stayed buried with rock and roll hoochie coo.
And on the contrary, Jesse Ventura, the name of the song is Real American, the artist Derringer.